Okay, let's talk about how to stop needing the 3D for validation. And whenever there is that 3D leg, how to stop stressing out about it, because I know firsthand how that feels after you place an order in the manifestation world and there is nothing but crickets that follow. So we're going to talk about how to start relying on the 4D more and why there is a lag with the 3D and how to stop needing the 3D for validation in the first place. So diving right in, I talked about this in a previous video where the 3D is just a mirror. And our ego loves to look at that mirror for validation. What I mean by this is, imagine you are standing in front of a mirror right now. When you are smiling or looking at that mirror and you smile, who smiles first? You smile first. The mirror follows. When you are frowning, who frowns first? You frown first. The mirror follows. Do you see the pattern that I'm getting at here? Because this, when you realize this and when you can see this, it changes everything. Because the ego loves, oh, and here's my cat. His name is Iro. The 3D loves the validation, or your ego loves the validation of the 3D. So it wants to see what is happening in that mirror first, and then base what is happening in that mirror on how it's feeling. So it wants to see the smile first before it decides how you feel or how it feels, right? And I like to talk about the ego as separate, like, yes, it's a part of you, but making a fun name for it can kind of help you separate from it to realize that it is not you. It is just a protective mechanism that your body has created. Your body and mind created from ages 0 to 7 while your subconscious mind was being formed. We'll get into that in a whole nother video. But for the sake of today's video, we're going to talk about the ego and how it seeks that validation first. And that's usually why most of us need that validation first, because that's what we are taught, to scan the environment around us to then base that on if we feel safe or if we feel a certain way. So that's why when you are looking to feel a certain way, instead of creating it from within, most of us are taught to wait for that text or wait for the money to come in or wait for someone to say, I love you, type of thing, right? Before we feel that way. We need the thing first, when really what we are chasing here is a state of being that we create within. So when you can think of that end result that you want, like that text from someone or the money coming in or the I love you from someone, when you can imagine what that feels like after that has already entered your life, you're thinking as if you've entered the era of thinking where creation is finished, because the realm of the 4D, the fourth dimension, where all of your thoughts and your imagination and feelings and emotions exist, the things that we can't quite see, that is where creation is finished. Because if you can think of it, it automatically exists in a reality. It's an imagination. And I believe that there are multiple different timelines of us, and whichever one we are thinking, whatever we are thinking the most right now is the timeline that we are living in. So I truly believe, like, when you think of something different, you are jumping timelines essentially to another timeline, and you're still creating your path, and you still have full control in what you're doing with your life, where you're going with your life. But okay, I feel like I'm getting a little sidetracked here, and my cat is distracting me because he just wants all the love right now. But so the ego and the nervous system are both hand in hand here. And I'm sure you've heard before, and if you haven't heard before, if you don't feel safe with something, it's harder to manifest it. And I was about to say you can't manifest it, but I have found recently contradicting evidence in my own life where you can totally manifest something with a dysregulated nervous system. It just goes to show, like, whatever your mind is predominantly thinking, you do end up manifesting in your reality. And the reality does follow suit. So when you are thinking of who you want to be, or you're thinking of the version of you that already got the money, and you're feeling calm and secure, and we're using materialistic markers here just for simplicity's sake here, because it's like the easiest to measure. But if you are imagining yourself as the version of you who has already received the I love you, and you feel loved, you feel safe, you feel secure. It's funny how a lot of like the materialistic anchors are like based around safety and security. I mean, maybe not, but that's just kind of what I'm realizing. But it's so funny because when you think of that first, that's again what follows. When you are standing in front of a mirror and you have the emotions that represent the version of you that has a lot of money, that will reflect in the mirror. Your mirror reflection will reflect safety, security, abundance, energy. That is you're going to see back. And when you're constantly seeing that back, it's a constant validation loop. Like you're creating the validation from within and seeing it reflect in the 3D. And that just keeps repeating over and over and over again, which leads to circumstances and opportunities and miracles that come into your life based off of that reflection that you recognize that you are the creator for. And the same thing goes with having your soul partner or having someone say, I love you, having someone that you love in your life, a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is. It's the same thing. When you picture yourself in front of that mirror, seeing yourself as the version who has their partner already or their soul partner who has someone in their life who really loves them, and seeing when you're embodying that version of you that has that love and you're feeling that love, what are you going to see in the mirror? The version of you that is having that love, that has that love. It's going to just reflect exactly what you put out. The world is the same way. And the ego is tricky. It's going to want validation. There are going to be moments where you're going to slip up and you're going to spiral and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, like things aren't reflecting. And hear me out here, because sometimes when you make a decision to change the reflection in the mirror by changing yourself first, which is the whole process here, by the way. But when you change your own state first and create from within and you recognize that you are the creator, sometimes there is a lag. And I go through this in my other videos too. The 3D lag is essentially because the 3D matter is dense. Your thoughts are like high-speed Wi-Fi. We're dealing with a different form of matter that is traveling on a much faster pace. Whereas in the 3D reality, the physical things around us, the phone you are watching this on, that takes longer to create because it is more dense. And when there is that lag between you creating your reflection or creating that state and waiting for the reflection to catch up, that is the most powerful time to validate yourself, to learn to trust yourself, to learn and trust yourself that you are the creator. And then when it starts reflecting in the 3D, it just reinforces that trust more and more and more. You'll start recognizing your power as a creator, and it will just reinforce the loop of you being the creator, and the 3D follows suit. And it gets easier and easier and faster the more you recognize that you are the creator. And it's super powerful here because the moment that you notice you're not looking for validation in the 3D, the moment you stop looking to your reflection to base that on how you feel, that's when things start changing, because there's an essence of the law of detachment here. When you don't need something, that is when, ironically, the 3D starts catching up even faster because it removes the resistance from it, that impatience of, oh my gosh, where is my manifestation? I placed my order, I don't know where it is. When you recognize that you place your order, you trust that it's coming, you trust that it's on the way, you know how you feel inside, you are acting as if, everything changes because it releases that resistance and helps that dense matter formulate in your favor faster. So releasing the resistance here and trusting that it's on the way after you place that order, things will align so much faster for you.